Still in local news, Venerable Ale Gunuwansa Thera says that the election results send out a message.
Me, daksha vaidyavarek.
A skilled doctor looks for the cause of the disease when treating a patient, but I do not know whether the United National Party is looking for the cause of the disease even after being defeated 22 times. Those who were in the United National Party's frontline in the past paid attention to this, no matter what anyone said. I can remember, not politically, but when thinking about it on a national level, when I called people like the late Ranasinghe Premadasa and the late Gamini Dissanayake and asked them to come to the temple, they always came. They used to come here and listen to the problems that we raised as a nation and took steps to correct them. Thereby, our bond was stronger with the individuals than with the party. Following the demise of Ranasinghe Premadasa, I can remember how the frontliners of the UNP discussed the matter together and proposed that the presidency be given to D.B. Wijetunga and that Sirisena Kure be made the Prime Minister. I am personally aware of this. It was Sirisena Kure who declined to accept the post of Prime Minister and proposed that it be given to Ranil Wickremesinghe. I believe at that moment he was thinking more about the party than about himself. I do not know if he thought that if divisions and conflicts arose, then it would affect the UNP and supporters of the UNP. Nevertheless, he made a major sacrifice. However, steps were taken to chase this person who made this sacrifice away from the UNP. We associate them today as well. I believe that those in the UNP who were intelligent, efficient and had a vision have now left the UNP. If I had any relationship with these political parties, then it was on the national level. It was to do with the motherland. Through this defeat, it is the supporters of the UNP who will face problems and difficulties and be inconvenienced. It is disappointing because 22 continuous defeats is a massive defeat. When engaging in politics, the previous leaders of the UNP made major sacrifices for the party. Within that party, anyone had the opportunity to meet the party leadership at any time. They had the opportunity to speak with them. We know that the leaders paid attention to what was being said. At times, party leaders would inquire into the views of the people from their powerful second-tier leaders. But today, we are disappointed when we look at how far the United National Party has fallen. In democratic countries, governments function well when there is a good opposition. We know that in democratic countries, governments work in accordance with a proper program when there is a good opposition. Disappointing situations like this arise when they remove talented people and appoint persons who have no understanding whatsoever of the pulse of the people to engage in politics.
මේ දක්ෂයින් ඉවත් කරගෙන හැකියාවන් තියෙන අය ඉවත් කරගෙන මේ කනකොළ ගහ පයට පෑගිච්ච නැති කොටින්ම මේ රටේ ජනතාවගේ නාඩි වැටෙන හැටි අල්ලන්න දන්නේ නැති පිරිස් දේශපාලනය කරන්න ගියාම මේ කනගාටුයි.
These are some of the views that were expressed before and after the elections regarding the decline of the United National Party. This is becoming a country with no opposition. He is doing various things to protect his leadership. But I will not say anything about Ranil Wickremesinghe these days. He will eat what he is given and look the other way. We have no problem. The problem is for the UNPers. He has a stick to beat and chase away those close to Sirikotha. On one hand, he is recruiting members, while on the other hand, he is chasing them away. Until Ranil Wickremesinghe is there, we need not be afraid. He carries out the task that we require of him. Therefore, we are thankful to him for the support rendered to us.
Ranil Wickremesinghe මහත්තයා නම් සාමාන්‍යයෙන්
Normally, Ranil Wickremesinghe can punish anyone. Recently, 28 people from the UNP were prohibited from coming to the party office. He is going above the media and is losing party members. Ranil Wickremesinghe is very dear to us. There is no one in the political world who is as dear to me as he is. This is because he is a man that allows us to run the government without any trouble.
ආදරය කරන්නේ මේ දේශපාලන ලෝකේ ඉන්න කාටවත් මොකද අපිට කරදරයක් නැතුව මේ ආණ්ඩුව කරගෙන යන්න දෙන මිනිස්සයයි.
Through these election results, it is clear that the United National Party has faced some sort of decline. This contest was not a national election. It was not an election to change the government. We accept that the United National Party has fallen behind to some extent at this election. In the central and northwestern provinces, the United National Party has been completely cleaned out and has died. This is not a problem for the opposition leader. What he says now is that even though the patient has died or even though the party has died and has been cleaned out, I am happy because my foes have been defeated. On one hand, this is a good thing because it is less troublesome for us. All we have to do is use that vote that the people have given us and work for the people in the villages.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that elections in the north, northwestern and central provinces have strengthened democracy in Sri Lanka.
Issuing a communique, President Rajapaksa says that the UPFA's victory in the northwestern and central provinces and the establishing of a provincial council in the northern province is another victorious step forward. The President points out that the resounding victory of the United People's Freedom Alliance in the northwestern and central provinces shows the people's understanding in the government's development drive and the Mahinda Chintanaya. The communique issued by the President reads that the ability to provide the opportunity to live in freedom and to hold a peaceful election for the people of the north who were hostages of terrorism for 3 decades is a victory. The head of state notes that it is the responsibility of all parties who contested the election to protect the opportunity to live in freedom and happiness that was obtained after many sacrifices. The President reiterates that this responsibility can only be fulfilled if everyone unites to build the motherland by setting aside petty extremist views.
National Alliance, which won a majority in the Northern Provincial Council, says that the people have clearly voiced that decision at the Provincial Council polls.
The communique issued by the TNA notes that the results of the Northern Provincial Council election make it evident that the people of the province are in favour of meeting their just political, economic, social and cultural aspirations with security and self-determination in a united and undivided Sri Lanka. The TNA notes that while it will dedicate itself to the task, it also expects the full cooperation of the government for this. The communique issued by the TNA notes that while the TNA expresses its gratitude to the people of the Northern Province for granting them a clear mandate, the TNA will take steps in the future to meet the aspirations of the people.
Following a media briefing convened by the United People's Freedom Alliance today, Minister of Economic Development Basil Rajapaksa expressed these views on the Northern Provincial Council polls.
We are prepared to cooperate with this provincial council. They have taken power and now they have a responsibility to work for the people of the north in the future. I also think that this is a good message for the international community. I must clearly say that the casting of votes was the biggest victory at this election. I can fearlessly say that civil servants in the north did not give any support for the holding of this election. At the same time, the military in the north assisted greatly in the holding of a fair election. If someone attempts to show some kind of public will in the north, then it is completely invalid. If they try to take power and confer the responsibility on us, then it is wrong. They have to now do the work.
Minister of National Languages and Social Integration Vasudeva Nanayakkara says that it is the government's responsibility to appoint a governor for the Northern Province who can work in cooperation with the Tamil National Alliance, which won a majority in the province.
The representatives elected to the Northern Provincial Council, the leaders of the United People's Freedom Alliance, and all of those in the opposition have a great responsibility to create the environment necessary for a united Sri Lanka and to render the necessary support. The government should keep in mind at this instance that since the Tamil National Alliance has won a majority in the Northern Province, a governor who can work cooperatively with the Tamil National Alliance should be appointed. All of this will take place as per the prerogative of the central government.
Leader of the Democratic Party, Sarath Fonseca, too expressed views about the election at a media briefing held in Kurunegala today.
People have accepted us. The people have identified our path. We believe the people approve us. This is just the beginning and we are happy with the result that we received. At the same time, it is amidst a very suppressive, violent and anti-democratic environment that we had to carry out our election campaign. We are glad about our result. We have obtained 5 seats for fresh faces that are approved by the people. These are faces that represent the pulse of the people. Therefore, we believe that we can move towards a victorious path.
Convening a media briefing today, the General Secretary of the JVP, Tilvin Silva, expressed these views on the election results.
When considering the results of the JVP at this provincial council election, it is evident that we have received a similar result as in the provincial council polls of 2009. Our voter base has remained the same. There has been no major deterioration of the JVP's voter base, but at the same time there is no significant increase in votes either. We have succeeded in protecting our voter base. The people will not receive anything new through this result. Against this reality, there are numerous questions facing the people. Every section of the populace in this country has a fight for their rights in their hands. In this fight, there is no one but the Janatha Vimukti Peramuna for the people to join hands with. We have that faith. There will be no reduction in our faith as a result of these results.
The Embassy of the United States of America in Colombo says that the high turnout and the participation in all three of the provinces which held elections is a victory for the democratic process.
In a press release issued today, the US Embassy said it remains concerned about reports of election violence and urged a transparent and independent investigation into various attacks and that the perpetrators be brought to justice swiftly. The release reads further that a process free of violence and intimidation in the northern province is required for greater civilian administration and to help further the process of reconciliation 4 years after the war. The embassy notes that these elections provide a starting point for that process. The release concludes by noting that democracy is not simply about elections and that more must be done to ensure that Sri Lankans of all communities can live in peace and dignity that they deserve.
Moving on to business news this evening, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka says that the economy grew by 6.8% in the second quarter of 2013.
Quoting GDP estimates from the Department of Census and Statistics, the CBSL says that both industry and service sectors contributed positively towards growth while agriculture contracted.
Estimates from the Department of Census and Statistics as quoted by the CBSL show the industry sector expanded by 10.1%, supported by growth in construction, manufacturing, mining and quarrying. The services sector grew by 6.6% with the main contribution coming from the wholesale and retail trade and transport and communication subsectors. The agriculture sector is estimated to have contracted by 1.1% mainly due to the drop in coconut and rubber production with adverse weather conditions, while paddy and other food crops recorded lower than expected output. The CBSL notes that with this second quarter growth, the economy has grown by 6.3% in the first half of 2013.
On to some sports news now.
Well, the Golden Lions have emerged champions at the Sri Lanka Baseball Classic 2013.
The tournament was held over 4 days at the Sri Lanka-Japan Friendship Baseball Diamond in Diagama. A gathering including the Ambassador of Japan to Sri Lanka, Nobuhito Hobo, graced the occasion.
Our whole focus and the objective is to uplift the standards of this game and make it popular among the four corners of this country.
The finals of the tournament was held between the Golden Lions and the Black Hawks. The Golden Lions beat the Black Hawks 12-3.
On to some rugby news now.
Sri Lanka managed to finish third in the second leg of the Asian Rugby Sevens in Thailand. Sri Lanka defeated South Korea 29-7 in the third place playoff match today. Sri Lanka, who competed in Group B in the preliminary round of the event, won both matches in their group and progressed to the Cup quarterfinals this morning, where they defeated host Thailand 28-0. However, Sri Lanka were denied a berth in the finals after being defeated by Japan 52-5 in the semi-finals. The first leg of the Asian Sevens held in Malaysia saw Sri Lanka come in fourth. Following today's victory against South Korea, Sri Lanka is now ranked third in Division 2 of the Asian Rugby Sevens.
Bandara, once he steps on the gas, Pokatsui, 22.
Well, that's a wrap from the News First team for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka.
And I'm Shen Silva. Take care and good night.
First at 9.